where are you? We got some work to do now.
Scooby Doo is a franchise I've been obsessed with ever since I was a kid. When I was 4, I was so obsessed with Scooby Doo that I dressed exactly like Shaggy every day and insisted on everyone in my family calling me Shaggy. I of course had the action figures as well. The movies, the embodiment of my childhood. The animated movies as well. I watched, all of them. The one I watched the most though was Scooby Doo the Monster of Mexico. Also, I watched the original cartoon as well as What's New and all the other stuff. Oh, and don't forget about the Batman and Scooby Doo crossovers that made my 5-year-old brain go, Scooby Doo and Batman, oh my god, sign me up! I'm 5! Way back in the far distant land of like 2015, I found Mystery Incorporated on Netflix and binged the entire thing. This is all just a very long-winded way of me saying that this franchise means a lot to me. So, last year, when quarantine first began, it was a no-brainer for me to go back and watch my favorite Scooby-Doo piece of media. Mystery Incorporated. Mystery Incorporated is fantastic. Not only is it my favorite Scooby-Doo outing, but it is also one of my favorite TV shows ever. I really like it. The characters themselves are fantastic, the animation is amazing, and the aesthetic is great. This is the best theme alongside What's New Scooby-Doo. The voice acting is top tier, and it's overall just really goodness. But something I find most interesting about this show is how it handles the Scooby-Doo formula. The franchise was built off of a formula. Oh, and it's just a bad guy in a mask. It always is. The formula that popularized the show, and everybody loved it, until they didn't. People started to get sick of this formula, and looking across the franchise, you can see many attempts to try to break itself from that formula. That formula that made the show what it is in the first place. Stuff like the very bad 13th Ghost Show, or the very fantastic and perfect Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, tried to flip this formula on its head. Zombie Island succeeded at this and criticized the formula, creating what would many agree to be the best Scooby-Doo content. While I do agree with that, and Zombie Island is one of my favorite movies, I find that Mystery Incorporated used this formula to its advantage. Up to this point, it was either the formula or the monsters are real, but Mystery Inc. did something new and fresh by asking the question, why not both? The problem has never been the formula. The formula is what made the show special. The problem was the repetition. But what if there was a twist? What if every episode we could just unmask a regular schmuck in a mask, but all of it part of an overall series storyline leading up to an unexplainable supernatural force? They found a way to have their cake and eat it too, which is a saying that doesn't make sense. If I buy cake, I expect to be able to eat it. Mystery Incorporated was able to do something new with this stale and repetitive formula without completely abandoning it. And they had excellent character work, stories, and monsters with that. It embodied the show, and instead of flipping the franchise's main formula on its head, it used it, and it used it to do something new. And that's why it will forever be my favorite piece of Scooby-Doo media. Also nostalgia. Now I know what you're thinking. Gavin, stop talking. Nobody likes your annoying voice. And to that I say, just because it's true doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. So, I'm gonna pass the video to Euriah now.
Hey, I'm Euriah from a different place in hell. I mean YouTube. I'm here to talk about my favorite Scooby Doo thing, which is definitely a hard question to ask myself. I go back and forth between various movies and shows all the time, but today, at this moment, my favorite thing is the direct-to-video Scooby Doo movies. To be more specific, the first 4. These 4. These are my favorite Scooby Doo things, especially Zombie Island, which I'll be focusing on the most, but I'll talk about the other 3 a bit.
Only on video. Mysteries as old as mankind.
Witches.ghost. I like this one, though it is probably my least favorite of the 4. I don't have a lot to say about it. It's a fun time, and also the Hex Girls are cool, so there's that.
We are not alone.
Alien Invaders. Love this film. It was on repeat in my house when I was little, probably the second most of these 4. But it's a lot of fun. It has just a nice vibe to it, which is something I think all 4 of these excel at. It's great at using everything to lend to the very sci-fi feel of it. I like the mystery of this one a lot, and the aliens are pretty cool. Okay, next movie.
Cyberspace, the final frontier.
Cyber Chase. I love Cyber Chase. This is definitely the one of these four I've seen the most, to the point that I think I've gone through at least 6 copies of it. The first 2-ish were because I just was little and mishandled movies. The rest are because I'm pretty sure I am cursed to never own one for too long. This movie's great. All the various worlds the gang visits are really fun, and made little me go lizard brain because seeing a bunch of different eras is a thing I like apparently. I love the homages to classic Scooby Doo villains and episodes, especially the Creeper, because I just always really liked that episode. It goes as far as to even have literal past versions of the gang, which I like a lot. This movie feels like a perfect cap off to these first 4 films, and an amazing homage to Scooby Doo as a whole.
There are monsters who dwell in our nightmares. Creatures of unspeakable horror, plotting to destroy mankind. But in this world, there are warriors who have the courage to confront this evil.
Now, Zombie Island. What can I say? Should I say it's good? Because hell yeah, it's good, but saying zombie is good is like saying, hey, I like breathing air. Who doesn't like this movie? It's one that even non-Scooby-Doo fans can sit down, watch, and say, yeah, it was cool. Can we watch something not about cartoon dogs, please? No! So anyway, what is it that makes this movie so endearing? What makes this movie have the reputation it has? Well, I think the answer is simple. This movie perfects the Scooby-Doo formula, while adding to it in a way that enhances the setup to new heights. All the elements of the simple Scooby formula are there. Gang learns about a supposedly spooky place. Gang goes to a supposedly spooky place. Gang finds out that it is indeed spooky. Gang ultimately finds out the person behind it is someone they place trust in beforehand. But also, that person is a cat lady, and also zombies are real. It's such a smart, well-executed way to take the existing formula and enhance it with new fresh details. In short, deciding to make the gang face real threats re-energized the franchise in a spectacular way. At the start of the movie, the gang have parted ways due to becoming bored of monsters always turning out to be guys in masks. But Daphne, now working on television, wants to find a real ghost for her show. So Fred gets the gang back together for Daph's birthday. So they go on a road trip visiting spooky places in hopes of finding something real. Of course, they don't. At first. The gang go to New Orleans, where they meet this lady, who is very normal. This island is apparently haunted by pirates, which they discover to be true. Except these aren't just ghosts, like the movie title suggests. The island got fucking zombies. Have I mentioned this movie is, like, really dark? Oh yeah, this gave me nightmares when I was little. As this film adds something to Scooby-Doo I never knew I needed. Really cool, dark mythology. Because you see, the people on the island, they were there like 200 years ago as settlers, and they worshipped a cat god. However, this settlement was attacked by pirates, and these settlers were eaten alive by alligators. Yeah. However, 2 people escaped this, and they prayed to their god to curse the pirates, and it worked. Also, it made them into werecats. Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. So every year, they lure people to the island to sacrifice them and preserve their own immortality. And the zombies, they're actually the cat lady's victims and try to scare future victims off the island to save them from the cat lady. And I love it. This is such a cool, dark way to reinvent Scooby-Doo. This is easily the darkest piece of Scooby-Doo media to ever exist, and I think it works in this film's advantage. This film was unafraid to shake up what made Scooby-Doo, well, Scooby-Doo, without ignoring the franchise's core. The core that these are mystery stories starring a colorful cast of misfits. For as much as this film changes up the Scooby-Doo formula, it's never a disservice to what came before. Moreover, it is not in a way that feels highbrow. It doesn't mock the Scooby-Doo formula, it revels in it and expands upon it. It also expanded on the characters a great deal, making what used to be quirks into real character traits, giving them well-thought-out motivations that make the gang that much better. The gang weren't great before this, at least in terms of characterization. Those original cartoons left quite a bit to be desired, but that's okay. I love those old cartoons. The character work in them fit for what they were trying to do, which was create fun episodic mysteries for kids. But yeah, this was the first time the gang were really expanded upon, and it makes the film that much better. Something that really works about the gang here is how seasoned they feel. They've been doing this for a long time, and it can be felt. You can tell the gang got tired of going through the motions, case after case of the same thing. It's almost like a parallel to how the fan base was feeling at the time. Scooby Doo wasn't doing great as a franchise then. While I liked just about everything in the series, Scooby hadn't had a major home run in a while. It was a stagnant franchise, a franchise seemingly scared to mix things up, a franchise scared to break the mold it had created for itself. But then, Zombie Island happened, and it reignited the franchise, breathing new life into something that was past its prime. It gave Scooby Doo a new feel, breaking the status quo the series had become so accustomed to, but not ignoring it. It instead feels like it's an homage to it. In every aspect, this film feels like an homage to those old cartoons that so many people hold dear. This is a movie made for Scooby Doo fans, but what it was trying to do was create something fans could latch onto, something for every fan, new and old. This movie allowed itself to grow with its audience, in a way that doesn't feel disrespectful to what made the series great, like so many reinventions of a franchise do, but instead felt like a celebration of everything people loved about Scooby Doo, everything I loved about Scooby Doo. This is my favorite franchise, and I could ramble on about it for hours because I just love it. I love the wacky villains, the goofy protagonists, the far-fetched plans, all of that. And this movie encapsulates all of those things I love while elevating it. This is why Zombie Island is my favorite Scooby Doo thing.
You've probably gathered that Scooby-Doo is a franchise that means a lot to the both of us, and it's a franchise that can offer so much good and fantastic media that makes it so special, unique, and perfect. Except for when it crashes and burns and delivers hot garbage that makes you lose actual brain cells and is a disgrace to the franchise as a whole.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby.